There are a lot of ways to win in the NBA, and some are going to get you further than others. If you are, I don't know, say a team with 2 MVPs, a Defensive Player of the Year, one of the smoothest shooters of all time, I mean, sure, that's one way to do it. Or you can do it the Pacers way, which is just to work as hard as possible all the time, no matter what. This latter approach is not going to get you as many headlines, and at least usually it will not win you a title. But in some cities, in some seasons, it doesn't have to directly be about a championship. Sometimes it can be about the joy that comes from doing things the right way. Or sometimes it can be about making a community whole again after it feels like its heart has been ripped out. Look, we can debate all day whether it is fair or not for people in Indiana to feel such venom for Paul George. But the bottom line is, no one wants their home to be known as the place people leave. That stinks. It's thrilling, then, to find a guy like Victor Oladipo, who is so proud to proclaim the field house my house. And it's important to feel like the guys wearing your jersey want to tough it out when things go wrong, instead of just giving up. The Pacers could have just accepted this season as a rebuilding year, but they didn't. Just like last night, they didn't accept an awful shooting night on the road in Philadelphia. And it was really bad. At one point, Indiana missed 16 straight three-pointers. They also lost Domantas Sabonis to a sprained ankle in the third quarter. Now, a little pro tip here. When Joel Embiid falls on you, it is not good. But the Pacers kept at it, playing the kind of sturdy defense that has increasingly been one of their hallmarks as the season's worn on. Miles Turner continued his month of resurgence. Lance Stevenson kept being, Lance Stevenson. And hey, even Vic kept shooting and finally got his three to fall when it absolutely needed to. Indiana held on for the win, which keeps the Pacers in the 3 seed. And that's super interesting since the East right now seems to be a little less about which teams make the playoffs and more about how the bracket is going to line up. But even without the postseason implications, here is what stuck out. The Pacers are now 10-1 in games decided by 3 points or less. You want to know what Indiana is? It isn't the place someone left behind. It's not the home to a bunch of MVPs either. It's the place where they do the hard work. And more often than not, it has been just enough. Now, Zach, we have already raised our expectations for the Pacers, right? A lot of people didn't even pick them to be in the playoffs.
Not a lot of people, nobody.
What about raising them even more? Three seed. I mean, that's not just being in the playoffs. Is it fair to say, hey, we want you to win around?
I think they're going to fall out of the 3rd seed. They have the toughest schedule left in the East, but they're going to be somewhere in that 3, 4, 5, 6 jumble. And the problem for them is probably that's going to be Cleveland, Washington, and Philadelphia. Home court or not, I think they're going to be underdogs in any of those series. But yes, we should raise the expectations for them. They are not going to be a walkover. They're not easily the 7th or 8th best team in the East. They're a good team, and they're going to put up a good fight. And if you want to say they should win around, that's fine. They've earned it.
Agreed. I do think Sabonis, depending on how long he's out, hurts them a lot. He's really played great for them. But this is the Miles Turner we all have been waiting for. This is the Miles Turner we thought that was going to break out, and in March, that's exactly what he's done. You know, a sneaky little pickup. Trevor Booker, you know, just makes the hustle plays, get the crowd going. My only concern for them in the postseason is every time I watch Lance Stevenson, I think, is this the night he blows? They can't afford to have it. No, they can't.
Right, but Indiana Lance Stevenson, we have learned, is better than any other Lance Stevenson.
It's just a different person.
Right?
Okay, that's fine, but when it gets in the playoffs, if I'm the other team, I'm going to be blowing in Lance's ear, not have him blow in mine, and I'm going to see if I can throw him off kilter. And if he does, that would be a concern for me.
But
really.
with Darren Collison's back healthy, he's been big for them.
He's been great.
And Glenn Robinson III quietly is an important part of their team and is healthy now. So they're like, if Lance is off kilter, all of a sudden they have enough depth on the perimeter where like you can play Lance 6 minutes and it's okay. He's been an important part of their team, but he's not like irreplaceable. They're a good, solid team. And it's time to give Nate McMillan some love for Coach of the Year.
I was going to say, I mean, that's something that I don't think. Look, the Coach of the Year discussion, it's tough. I think it's probably going to be that and Defensive Player of the Year, right? Or the two hardest things to call right now.
So the thing about Nate McMillan that I love is, remember, when Larry Bird hired him, everybody said, well, what are you doing? You said you wanted to play with pace. You wanted to play up-tempo. This is the wrong guy. This is a defensive guy. I guess Larry knew what he was doing again.
Wow.
They could get Coach of the Year.
That Larry Bird guy.
I know, right?
They could get Most Improved Player with Oladipo. And how about Executive of the Year for Kevin Pritchard? Daryl Morey's probably going to win it and probably should win it. But Kevin Pritchard, we all ripped Kevin Pritchard and said it was a horrible trade, and it doesn't look so horrible anymore.
I mean, it also brings the question, that larger question I kind of talked about at the top of, like, of course, if you can have two former MVPs and Defensive Player of the Year and the collection of talent a team like the Warriors has, that's what wins titles in the NBA. But that difference in the middle, teams that don't have, like, multiple superstars, just putting in the effort, good, smart coaching, players that do the hustle stuff, play defense.
Right.
That can be the difference between 10th and 3rd in the conference, right, Jackie?
And how about just saying to Victor Oladipo, we know you've moved around a lot, but we believe in you, and we will build around you, and we will flourish around you.
Yeah.
And look what's happened.
Absolutely.